Dan Hurley, just talking with Alex Caravan and Solo Ball. Solo said, look, I come in as a freshman. I'm told freshmen speak when they're spoken to.
Yeah.
Then it grows out of us. It's that process. What do you identify as the ingredients to building a player, a human, year in, year out, from a freshman to hopefully with an Alex Caravan type, they're going to stay at UConn forever?
Yeah, I think it's all about the people that you bring into the organization. You know, you have to bring, in individuals, whether they're coaches or players that have shared values, that are about, sacrifice, that are about, continued development, that are about, competitiveness, about being a part of a connected group, having a mindset of I want to be part of a great team. I trust the coaches that they'll get me individually where I want to get to, and that it's worth it for me to sacrifice for the team, And I think that we just, through a filtering process in recruiting, we're able to bring together just exceptional championship level people, that have NBA level talent. And Solo Ball is just, the guy that had to wait his turn a little bit, and now he's got a chance to blossom into the next UConn star player.
You wrote in your book that you thought about stepping away and coming to this side, coming to television. What drives you to keep going forward?
I just think for me, my priorities, I think, got a little bit out of whack as a coach. I think the internal pressure that you put on yourself to continue to win at that level, to win a third straight championship, and the kind of the monster that you become in pursuit of that third straight championship, set the ego off, I think, in a bad way, and maybe just, got me away from maybe my priorities as a coach. I think, my pursuit of this year's Big East regular season or Big East tournament or the national championship or Final Four, it's not going to be any less urgent. But I thought what this year taught me was that a lot of the things that I got into coaching for, the special connection with the players, those relationships, being part of a group that's unified and connected, that cares about each other. Like, it's okay to kind of take some joy in those things too, while you're in a life or death pursuit of championships. And I think I forgot about the relationship part.
How much do you feel as though this group of Huskies, 2025-26, has the makeup, while as we're talking it's October, has the makeup to get to Indianapolis, to be kings of the Big East? And what do you see with this team's upside? What's that key dimension or two that you think is going to determine if this team can get there?
Yeah, I think for us right now, and it's some good fortune where you're just healthy, where you're healthy enough, because I think that you've got all types of shooting and scoring on the wing and some depth there. I don't think that there's a better trio of shooting, scoring on the perimeter than Solo Ball, Braylon Mullins, and Alex Caravan. I mean, you're talking about, two of the potentially best shooters in the country. With Alex, who's also one of the best shooters. You've got, I think, depth at point guard. You've got size and defense. You've got speed and creativity. And then you've got a potential All-American level center. And then some depth behind them where you could go three deep at that position. We've got depth on the wing. It's can we get this defense fixed that really betrayed us last year and let us down. We could have won the championship last year if we just defended a little bit, especially on the perimeter. So it's all going to come down to whether we can get that toughness and that identity back that kind of put us on top.
You guys have a rock band effect when you go into different cities for games and you play in a number of different venues that are quote-unquote neutral site games, but they don't sound like that when you get into the buildings, this being one of them. You're playing a game in Boston, of course. But when you go on the road, you have a rock band effect, except when you go inside the venue, you don't get a roar. It's a very different sound. How much do you relish that?
I think there's no greater feeling than knowing that when you go on the road, it's that you pull up for shoot around in the morning and the students are lined up on the road because UConn's in town. 6 national championships since '99. Been the best program in the country in college basketball during that span because sports is about the big championships, right? That's what it's always been about, and we shouldn't change that in 2025, right? So it wasn't that case. That wasn't the case. When you're first-year head coach at UConn and you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, playing Tulsa in front of 600 people. So, the program is back to where it was. When Coach Calhoun built it and where Gino has it on the women's side. So, that's definitely the way you want it to feel on game day.
We have a couple of NBC Sports highlights with the Huskies, a number of different games, one of which is on Valentine's Day, when you guys will welcome in Georgetown. So I'm going to take this in a very different direction, the direction that it should be taken, which is you have a wonderful wife. So what does your Valentine mean to you?
Oh, man, my wife means everything. I think, if she doesn't come into my life at the moment that we meet, I can't imagine just where I'd be. She changed my life. That relationship, the love, the incredible treasure that she gave me, the family, 2 sons, and getting me to live beyond myself, like wanting to live for others, loving so much, someone else, so much more than yourself is, I think, the greatest gift, and living for them, and she's given me that gift. And
what does she make for the players after shoot-around?
So it's going to have to be chocolate, obviously, with the poem, and she's actually stays up late kind of working and rewriting that poem that accompanies the candy. It's a passion project for her, and she's a perfectionist. So it'll be probably a box heart chocolate. The players probably won't like it, but they'll like the poem because they want nerds and Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish.
Are you still painting?
I am. I'm working on a piece right now, actually, for Coach Mamadou Diarra. Yeah, I've been particularly tough on him. He's a young coach, so I'm really mentoring and developing him. So I'm working on a little bit of a landscape of mountains, like a mountain scene, because beyond, once you climb a mountain, there's just another mountain, and life is about just continuing to climb the next mountain. So that's what Coach Mo has to look forward to.
What kind of a relationship do you have with Rick Pitino?
Not much, I don't have a lot of relationships with very many college coaches because I did not kind of grow up in the business that way. I'm the son of a high school coach, and most of my years in development, were spent as a high school coach. So I'm not part of the college coaching fraternity. So I've got very few, coaches in the profession that I'm close to that have been either friends of mine or mentors. I would say other coaches in the league would maybe be a Shaheen, who has that high school background. We both played at Seton Hall, is more of a natural relationship. And I probably got a better relationship with Richard because we both have a very similar sense of humor. But and I think it's very hard. I think when you're both competing for the same thing, and you're both at a very high level, and you have a regional rivalry, and we play them in the NCAA tournament. When he's at Iona, and then that next year at St. John's, the rivalry there starts, and we go back to back, and we're both fighting for the same thing. So it's tension. There's tension. We're both fighting for the same thing.
If we looked up UConn St. John's rivalry in the dictionary, what words will we find?
I would say it's probably just starting, and just in terms of both programs being, in contention, potentially for the national championship, for Final Fours. I mean, that's when a rivalry is really gonna take off. It can't be a rivalry if one program is winning national championships, going to the Final Four, and is dominant in college basketball, and the other program, had been struggling for a long time, like St. John's has been struggling. They needed to get somebody in there that would obviously, get the program back to this level so that you could get this type of excitement and intensity and passion. And, I think it was on some level, even going to those games at MSG, when you're playing road games at St. John's and 70% of the crowd is UConn. That's not a rivalry. Now this past winter, it was not that way. It was probably 80-20 St. John's. So I'm excited about it. I think that's you want to play games like that. You want to have games that people are going to be dying to see. And I think no one likes when everyone's buddies in sports. I think people like animosity. People like intensity. It's not disrespectful. It's just we both want the same thing.
One of our other NBC highlights is January 7th, when you head into Providence. I asked you about Valentine's Day earlier. You are just beloved in Providence, Rhode Island, aren't you?
Yeah, they love me there. Yeah, they love me in Providence. And I'm not like the local boy who went out and done good there because I was more South County there, I just don't get it. I just don't get the ill will. I don't get how coaching the Rhody Rams and now coming over to UConn and leading that program could cause them to dislike me. I don't know what it is about me that they don't like. What's wrong with those people? They are nasty, though. But they did behave better the last couple of years.